Have you ever felt a heavy cloud inside? A storm of emotions desperate to break free, yet you hold back your tears because you think strength means silence? What if I told you that the strength to heal begins with the courage to cry? Tears are often misunderstood. In many cultures, crying is seen as a sign of weakness, something to be hidden or suppressed. Yet, looking deeply at the human experience, both from a spiritual and psychological perspective, crying is a vital expression of our inner world. It's our soul's language when words fail, a release valve for pressure that builds inside from pain, grief, frustration, or even overwhelming joy. The Bible, in Ecclesiastes 3 verse 4, reminds us there is a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. This verse doesn't say cry is something to fear or avoid, but rather it acknowledges crying as an essential part of life, a necessary moment of emotional expression that leads to healing and transformation. Suppressing tears and emotions may seem like strength in the short term, but over time it erodes our spirit and well-being. In this script, we will explore why it's okay and important not to be afraid to cry, how suppressed emotions impact us, and how embracing our tears can lead to freedom and deeper healing. From childhood, many of us are taught to be strong, toughen up, or not show your feelings. These phrases, however well-meaning, often create a barrier between us and our true emotions. We learn to lock away tears and feelings, believing that suppression protects us from vulnerability or rejection. But what happens beneath the surface when we suppress our emotions? The truth is that emotions don't disappear just because we refuse to face them. Instead, they simmer quietly, shaping our mental, emotional, and even physical health. Causes of suppressing emotions. 1. Fear of judgment or rejection. Many fears appearing weak or overly emotional in the eyes of others. 2. Cultural or familial expectations. Some backgrounds promote stoicism as a virtue, making crying feel forbidden. 3. Past trauma or wounds. Painful experiences sometimes make us guard our hearts tightly to avoid further hurt. 4. Misunderstanding of strength. Equating strength with emotional control rather than emotional honesty. Consequences of suppressed emotions. 1. Emotional numbness or disconnection. Losing touch with our feelings can create a sense of emptiness or detachment from ourselves and others. 2. Increased anxiety, depression, or stress. Bottled up pain often manifests as mental health struggles, as the mind and body strive to communicate something ignored. 3. Physical symptoms. Suppressed emotions can lead to headaches, digestive issues, high blood pressure, or weakened immune functioning. 4. Strained relationships. When we don't express emotions, misunderstandings and conflicts arise, preventing authentic connection. Suppressed emotions are like a dam holding back a river. The pressure only increases until eventually something has to give. The key is not to fear the release, but to welcome it as part of the healing journey. Many people hesitate to cry because they believe faith requires constant strength and unwavering composure. Yet, Scripture shows us a different picture, one that honors honest emotional expression as part of our humanity and even our relationship with God. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 4 sets a clear rhythm in life, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. This verse reminds us that crying is not only natural, but divinely timed and ordained. Just as there is a season for joy, there is a season for tears, and both are necessary for a balanced spiritual life. Crying cleanses the spirit. It allows us to move through grief, pain, and burden, paving the way for renewal. In spiritual terms, tears are prayers of the heart, an intimate conversation where we allow ourselves to be fully known, not just to ourselves but to God. Suppressing tears can sometimes indicate trying to hide from God's comfort and presence. By embracing our tears, we embrace vulnerability, authentic faith, and deeper healing. By recognizing that crying and emotional expression are healing is the first step. The next is learning how to make space for these feelings in our often busy, hardened lives. Here are practical ways to honor your emotions and release suppressed pain in a healthy way. 1. Create safe spaces for emotion. Find or create environments where you feel secure enough to express vulnerability. This might be a quiet personal retreat, a trusted friend or counselor, or a spiritual community. Safety is key to allowing tears to flow without judgment. 2. Practice mindful awareness. Pay attention to your body and mind. Notice physical signs of emotional tension, tightness in the chest, heaviness, restlessness, and gently ask yourself what feelings might be underneath. Mindfulness trains you to connect with emotions rather than avoid them. 3. Permit yourself to cry. Give yourself explicit permission to cry if the moment arises. Say quietly, "It's okay to feel this way," or "I can let the tears come." Sometimes simply blessing the tears can remove fear or shame linked to them. 4. Use creative outlets. Writing, journaling, prayer, or even art can be profound channels for expressing what words cannot fully capture. These outlets can help release inner emotions safely and meaningfully. 5. Seek support. Don't hesitate to reach out for emotional or spiritual support. Friends, mentors, pastors, or therapists can provide guidance, prayer, and compassion as you navigate complex feelings. 6. Remember the spiritual promise in Ecclesiastes 3 verse 4. Reflect often on this verse to remind yourself that crying is part of God's timing in your life. Holding this truth can encourage patience with your emotional process and faith in God's healing plan. Allowing yourself to cry could be the first step toward breaking free from the weight of suppressed emotions and rediscovering joy, peace, and deep connection. In a world that often tells us to keep it together, choosing to cry can feel like an act of bravery. But as Ecclesiastes 3 verse 4 reminds us, there is a sacred time for tears, a time that is woven into the fabric of our spiritual and emotional journey. Don't be afraid to cry. Your tears are not signs of weakness, but of authenticity, courage, and humanity. They are the waters that cleanse your soul, open your heart, and make space for healing, growth, and renewed strength. When you honor your emotions instead of suppressing them, you step into a fuller freedom, one that allows you to truly laugh, dance, and live with all your heart. Let your tears be a language of faith, an honest prayer that connects you with your deepest self and with God. Remember, it is often through our most profound vulnerability that we find the truest strength. So, the next time you feel the weight of the world pressing in or your heart breaking, do not hold back. It's okay to weep. It's part of God's perfect timing and your journey toward wholeness.